walkie-talkie. I also have a walkie-talkie. You have walkie-talkies for a couple of reasons. The main one, so that you know when it's time to rotate next. My voice is going to come through this walkie-talkie every 25 minutes. The first time my voice comes through this walkie-talkie will be the scariest moment of tonight. It's going to be way louder than anything else that happens. And then you'll kind of get used to it, hopefully, and you'll know what to expect for the next 25-minute rotation. The other reason that you're given walkie-talkies is because you're investigating in a particularly actively haunted house in the middle of the night in the dark. This is going to be fun, and I'm really glad that you're here. But if you feel uncomfortable at any point, don't stay uncomfortable, right? If you need to take a break, take a break. Devin is going to turn out the lights in the courtyard, except for the stringed lights that are above the benches where you were all just gathered. So if you need to get a breath of fresh air and head out there, by all means, feel free to do that. And if you need Devin or I to come get you at any point, just walkie us, and we are happy to come get you. I've never had to do that. Tonight could be that night, and that's okay. Don't want to freak you out too much, but people sometimes need to take breaks, and that's fine. There's no shame in that. So you have this if you need it. Don't use it unless necessary, because you're just going to interrupt someone else's investigation. But we're all connected if you need us. Okay. So I'm going to hand a walkie-talkie to each group. So whoever wants to this group of 5, I don't know if you're pointing to.
Oh, no, don't give it.
There you go. Perfect.
Because you was trying to
Mama
give
Mary,
it.
Mama Mary should be the one to hold it.
Right. I'd be the first one to run.
Could you just go outside or with the door locked? Like, would we have to have?
So if you needed to come out and sit on the benches out there, you can do that. If you're like in the main level of the house, maybe when you're making, because you have to go downstairs to come out, so maybe just announce yourself, because there's going to be a group investigating. So, always try not to scare people on purpose. So when you're coming downstairs, maybe just say, hi, it's just me, I need to take a break, I'm coming outside, But more than welcome to just walk outside, and we have the cameras, we know where you're going, so I'll probably come out and be like, hey, are you okay? And then I'll leave you alone if you want me to. Okay. Yeah, but that's fine. There will be a lock on the gate, so you can't go out to the sidewalk, but you can hang out outside in the courtyard. Okay. Yeah. All right. By the way, the live stream has started, so if you want to wave hello, tell your friends and family and the strangers watching on the internet. Hi. I think that's fun. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and pass out 2 flashlights per group. So I'm going to hand one to the group of 3, one to the group of 2 here. There you go. One to the group of 3, one to the group of 2, and then whoever wants it in this. Probably the most scared person. Yeah. All right. So these new flashlights that I passed out to y'all, this one, when you first turn it on, it's going to turn on the flashlight. When you click it again, it'll start blinking red. You got to just keep clicking through, and it'll stop blinking red. It's kind of a nuisance, but they're new flashlights, so they work really well, and that's really all that we're interested in. Okay. So you're given flashlights for a couple of reasons. The main reason is obvious, so you can light your way. You don't want to trip. I don't want you to trip either. The other reason you're given flashlights is to use to communicate with the spirits. So you can use a flashlight as what's called a trigger object. You can set it down on the floor, set it down on a sofa, on a table, and you can ask a spirit to interact with it. You can ask them to roll the flashlight toward you, to roll it away from you, to make it move. You can also set your flashlights next to each other. I gave everybody 2 flashlights that are different colors. That's on purpose. If you want to establish that black means yes and red means no, and then ask them a series of yes or no questions, asking them to make those flashlights dim or turn off or brighten corresponding to the answers, that would be a really neat way to communicate with them. You can also, because sometimes I think it's easier for them to just put all of their energy into one flashlight, you can ask them to dim once for yes and twice for no. Blink once for yes, twice for no. But try the flashlight trick. We have a lot of really cool success with that on this property, so definitely try that and asking them yes or no questions. Okay? Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. All right. So next up, does anybody know what this is? An EMF detector or a K2. Yeah, so this is your most basic piece of investigative equipment. If you ever do another investigation, you're going to be given a K2. So this is detecting electromagnetic frequency, EMF. Basically, it's measuring energy. So, the way that this works, I'm going to hand it to you when it's already on. This green light is just your base reading, just means it's on. What you're looking for when it's detecting that EMF, it's going to light up, hopefully all the way to red. And you want it to tick, right? If you ever do another investigation and it stays lit up halfway or all the way, that would be your new base reading. That does not mean you're getting evidence. You want it to tick up and down. Now, this is a little bit sensitive. So if you shake it, you're going to get a false reading. So if I were you, I would just set it down somewhere stable so that I know if I saw it tick, I knew that it wasn't my fault. Right? So if you want, you can set it down on a sofa or on a table. You can also walk around with it maybe in the palm of your hand just to make sure that you're not making it move and getting a false reading. So I'm going to give everybody 2 K2s. If you want, these are all just tips, take them and leave them. But if you want, you can put 1 K2 on one side of the room and put the other one on the other side of the room. And maybe this one is lighting up, you're seeing it tick. And you can say, okay, hi, thank you for coming through. Could you walk to the other side of the room and make that other K2 light up? And then see if it'll follow the rules that you're establishing. We're looking for intelligent communication on this property. We have intelligent spirits. We're hoping all of this equipment goes off. It won't. That would be amazing if all of it went off. But we're not hoping that it goes off willy-nilly. We're hoping it goes off when we want it to and the way that we want it to. Now, on that note, you do not have to explain what a K2 is or how it works. Sometimes I have guests spend a lot of unnecessary time trying to explain in 19th century vernacular what a K2 is. You don't need to do that. You just need to explain how you want them to interact with the equipment. But they know what a K2 is at this point. Okay, does that make sense, that difference? Mm-hmm. Yeah? Mm-hmm. All right. So I'm going to pass out 2 per group. And just because, you happen to take the K2 from me just now. Oh, okay. Well, I'll still give it. Okay. So they are 3. Perfect. There you go. Just because, you happen to take the K2 from me right now doesn't mean you're stuck with the K2. By all means, share your equipment with your team, but just make sure to keep it with you from rotation to rotation is all. Okay, how are we feeling so far? Good? Okay. So we're not investigating yet. So we're going to go over all of this equipment, and then you're going to hear the history, and then go get to investigating. But this is a very important part of the process. Okay. So this is a little bit more intense. Does anybody know what this is? It's not a voice recorder. A lot of people assume it is. Yeah, that's a fair guess. This is a spirit box, a ghost box, a voice box. Yeah. So with this piece of equipment, you're going to hear a response in real time. We can think of spirits as being energy. This is an established energy source. This is a glorified radio. It's easier for them to communicate with you through this than it is to say, touch you. So I'm going to go ahead and push the 2 buttons that you need to be aware of, the power button and the sweep reverse button. It says sweep R-E-V. So I'm going to go ahead and press those so that you know what it sounds like. I'm holding the power button down. Now I'm letting go. It's a radio. I'm going to hold down sweep reverse. You hear it? It's sweeping through those radio stations. Okay, so with this piece of equipment, you are absolutely going to have the occasional radio interference. For sure. You're going to hear the occasional, like, ooh, ee, like a little country twang or whatever come through, and you're going to know that that's the radio. What you're listening for is a vocalization that will extend past the length of one change of a frequency. You're going to hear a response, a phrase, a word that will basically overlay the sweeps. Does that make sense? Yeah. And it sounds louder when you hear it. It sounds different than the radio interference does. Now, this does not have the ability to record audio on its own. If I heard a ghost respond to my question, I'd want to hear it again. So if I were you, I would be recording the audio on my phone. You can use the voice memo app. A lot of people use that. It seems to work really well. Any basic audio recorder is fine. Now, if you've never investigated before, it's going to feel real kooky walking into a seemingly empty room asking questions to the air, right? You paid $50 to be here. You lean into it, you know? You have this opportunity to talk to 19th century, 18th century people. Use it. Ask them interesting questions. If I were you, I would treat them like human beings, because they are, right? Treat them like a stranger that you would have befriend on the street. You're not going to run up to somebody and be like, who are you and why are you here? You're going to be like, hi, my name is Jamie. What's your name? Pay them a compliment, maybe. Treat them like a human being. Knock on a door before you enter a room. Walk in and introduce yourself every room you go in, right? Try to create a rapport with these spirits. And when you're asking a question, I would have a spirit box session. If you have this just sweeping the whole time, I think it can be distracting. So if I were you, I would get my group together. I would have a dedicated spirit box session. I'd have everybody maybe gather in a circle. It has a little kickstand, so you can kick it out, set it down, press power, press sweep reverse, press record on my phone, and then ask a series of questions. When you ask a question, you're going to wait for a response. Wait like 10 seconds for a response. And then whether you heard a response or not, ask it again and wait another 10 seconds. And then if you feel like you've exhausted your questions, have a conversation amongst yourselves. This is my best tip for you tonight. Get to know each other. Have fun in the room. If you're having a good time, maybe they'll want to join in your good time. Maybe they'll feel more comfortable with you. I had a group once that was talking about a teddy bear in the lower level, and they weren't really getting any evidence. And one of the guests spoke up and said, well, I didn't grow up with a teddy bear. I grew up with this stuffed lamb. And he started to talk about it. And the equipment in the room all started to go off. It was really neat. It was like a spirit felt comfortable with her. Maybe they also grew up with a stuffed lamb, and then they wanted to come through and give them some evidence. So get to know each other, and it helps them get to know you. So I'm going to go ahead and pass these out. Go ahead and press power, press sweep reverse so that I know you know where the buttons are. They're really small, and you're going to be in the dark. And pass it around to make sure everybody in your group knows where they are. Yeah, you got to hold it down. They're both on the bottom.
And hit sweep in reverse.
Yeah. Sweep R-E-B, yeah. Perfect. So if you want to turn it off and turn it back on and try it again, you can. I know it kind of seems silly, but you're going to be in the dark and the buttons are small. I've had to interrupt too many investigations to tell them they're not doing it right, so.
So it's power, yes, power, and then the reverse, right? So we don't have this one.
Reverse.
Yeah.
Is there a
You
volume?
gotta hold it down.
Is there a volume?
Gotta hold it.
Power
Yeah.
down?
And then hold the sweep reverse down. Oh yeah, all of them you gotta hold down.
And I hold it down again. So
You gotta hold the power
on
on again.
and then let it
And
come
then,
up.
yep.
And then press
sweep
reverse.
reverse one more time. I'm sorry, was there, oh, someone asked about the volume. Yeah, these are quiet. They're supposed to be quiet.
Okay.
So they're only that loud because you should still be paying attention to what's happening to you, right? So whoever has that spirit box will probably need to hold it up to their face. If you have headphones with you, you could plug in the headphones if you wanted to do that, but it's quiet on purpose. You want to be paying attention to what you are hearing, smelling, and feeling at all times. You are your best investigative tool, right? If you walk into a room and you feel drawn toward a particular corner, bring your equipment and head toward that corner. Or if you feel uncomfortable doing that, take 3 pictures of that corner. But listen to what's going on with you. And if you hear something, smell something, or feel something at any point, say something to your team, right? Someone else might be having the same experience, or they can debunk it, or they can maybe bring their equipment and try to validate it for you with another way, right? Okay. Is everybody okay with that? Spirit box? All right. So next up, you have all of the equipment that you're responsible for. So this is what you're bringing through with you from rotation to rotation and what you're turning in at the end of the night. Now I have a couple more pieces that are stationary. This is an EDI. It's an environmental detection instrument. So this is 3 pieces of equipment in one. This is measuring ambient temperature. That's what this digital read is at the top. To be honest, it's not usually that interesting. I've had guests recently who will say, hey, if it's at 72.6, they'll say out loud, okay, 72.6. When we're leaving this level, can you make it go to 70.4? And then when they're leaving, if it's on that number, that could be remarkable. Otherwise, not that interesting. This is also measuring EMF. Just like your K2 is measuring EMF, it'll light up blue right here when it's detecting that energy. What we're really using this piece of equipment for is the geophone that is built in. This is measuring seismic activity. So I'm going to turn it to them and then I'll turn it to you. So would you stomp your foot for me, please? Did you see it light up? Yeah. Yeah. So So I'm barely tapping on this right now, and it's still lighting up. Okay, so I'll turn it to y'all. Could you see that? Make sure you can see. So go ahead and stop for me one more time. Right? So barely tapping, and I bet it's still lighting up. Okay, so people sometimes forget about this piece of equipment. I really like it. If I were you, I would ask a spirit to imitate me. I'm going to be putting this in a section of the house where we get a lot of reports of footsteps. But if I were you, don't stomp. That was just a tutorial. Thank you. There will be people below you, but it will be on a staircase. So you can say out loud, I'm going to knock 4 times. Can you knock back 4 times? Go ahead and rap on the railing 4 times. And maybe you won't hear the knocks back, but you'll see it light up 4 times in response. You can also try the shave and a haircut and see if it'll finish it out with the 2 bits, a little blink blink at the end. We've had success with that. You can ask the spirits to imitate you in any section of the house. It just works best when you have this piece of equipment, because sometimes you won't hear it. Okay? All right. Lastly, does anyone know what this is? What's this? A REM pod. Yeah, are you a Ghost Adventures fan?
Yes.
Yeah. So, make sure you can see. Sorry if you need to stop recording. Okay. So, this is usually everyone's favorite piece of equipment. This is emitting its own electromagnetic field around its antenna. And when something breaks that field, it lets you know through lights and sound. Okay? So it's from 360 degrees from all over. Now, you have to be right up on this piece of equipment. I'm seemingly right up on it right now, and it's not going off. You have to be above it to make it go off. Sometimes have guests walk by and think they're making it go off. They're not. Now, this is important. Because this piece of equipment lights up and makes noise, everybody always wants to touch it. Please do not touch the REM pod. Don't test out the REM pod. Just because it's not going off doesn't mean it's not on, doesn't mean it's not working. Devin's job on the property is to calibrate these REM pods, and she's good at it. If you touch or test out the REM pod, you're going to get a false reading, and that is not what we want. We want authentic paranormal evidence. Please don't touch the REM pods. But you can ask the children's spirits to touch them. Make a game out of it. It lights up and makes noise. So try that if you want. A tip for this would be maybe count down. Say, on the count of 3, can you touch the REM pod? Or if you walk into a room and it's already going off, say, I'm going to count down from 10. When I finish my countdown, can you back away from the REM pod? And try that. See if it'll go off when you want it to. Okay? There are 3 REM pods. So there's one in each level where you'll be investigating, and feel free to use them at any time. But these 2 are stationary, so we'll leave them where they are. They're in places for your benefit. All right. Any questions? No? Don't be afraid to ask questions. This is your time. All right. So we're going to head into the mansion, have our condensed tour, and then you're going to get to investigating.
Right.
That's a pretty picture.
Oh, no. I know.
Bad boy.
Yeah.
Bad little boy.
Might not feel it.
We're gonna hold hands. We're gonna have a seance. I'm just kidding. That's we don't. That's extra. All right.
Teresa, do you have the speaker?
Yeah, I got the speaker.
All right. So welcome inside the Sorrel-Weed mansion. Great introduction, coming to a dark basement, I know that. We're going to head upstairs, you'll be able to see the beauty of the house, the lights are on upstairs. But this house was built in 1840. It was built for Francis Sorrel as a wedding present to his second wife, Matilda. Now, while the Sorrel family was living here, this lower level where we're standing now was their enslaved people's working quarters. The Sorrels did have probably up to 15 enslaved house servants while they were living here. So this big area where we're standing now, this was the kitchen, and every fireplace that you'll see in the lower level was used for cooking. Now, if you get equipment to go off, maybe it's one of the enslaved people. If you get equipment to go off, maybe it's someone else. The Revolutionary War was fought right outside in what is now Madison Square. In 1779, the bloodiest hour of the Revolution took place right outside. And while it was happening, the British officers were living on this property before this house was here. It is also where those British officers died. We believe that their spirits still linger here. So you want to ask questions to those soldiers as well. And if you're getting equipment to go off, maybe it's one of them, the red coats. That's exactly right. Yeah, our earliest paranormal reportings actually come from the enslaved people who were living down here. They're reporting seeing creatures with white legs and red tails, which we believe is the redcoats. So try to reach out to any of them. Now behind me and behind this fireplace is a breezeway. We call this breezeway Shadow Man's breezeway. Shadow Man is an entity on the property, sort of the most legendary entity. He is a very tall, very thin, three-dimensional looking shadow, meaning that he's featureless, but he appears to have mass. He can be experienced all over the lower level, but most commonly, he's experienced in the breezeway, pacing it, walking the length of it. Maybe he was keeping guard, maybe he was a soldier. Now, I almost hesitate to bring up Shadow Man on these investigations because then you're paying attention to what you're seeing. Another reason we're turning out all the lights is because most people are not going to see something paranormal. So again, pay attention to those other senses, but you could try to reach out to Shadow Man in the breezeway. Regardless of him, it is a hot spot. There is a chair at the end of the breezeway that you can sit on. It's there for the investigations. So if I were you, I would leave my equipment behind. I would go sit in that chair by myself. I would close my eyes, and I would try to have a personal connection with one of these spirits. Usually, people's favorite bits of evidence are the personal connections that they're able to make. If you want to, you can sit there and you can say out loud, if someone is here with me, you have my permission to put your hand on my shoulder. That's a really nice way to invite that kind of connection. On the flip side, if you do not want someone to touch you tonight, say it out loud. When you walk into a room, say, I'm here to get to know you, but I don't want to be touched. Please don't touch me, okay? They should respect your space. But I would try to invite that personal connection in the breezeway. By all means, bring your equipment back there too, but I would spend some time alone. For now, we're going to head to that back room. There's a handle on that last door. Go ahead and pull that handle toward you and head in. I am going to blow these oil lamps out, so it begins. So you'll see them. Oh, okay. Yeah, Devin already set up the ones that we'll see right now. She's like a little fairy. She just goes in. You don't even see her do it. All right. So a note on the furniture. Yeah. So a note on the a note on the furniture. You can sit on the chair in the breezeway, or you won't do that. You can also sit on the sofa that's in this room, and you can sit on the sofa that's in the next room. Every other piece of furniture in this museum is off limits. Please do not sit on, lean on, touch any of the other furniture while you're investigating here tonight. In this room in particular, there are a whole lot of antiques over here. I know, I'm inviting you into a dark room full of antiques, but you know that they're there, so just be considerate of them. And just because you can't touch the furniture doesn't mean the spirits can't. You can ask a spirit to sit on the sofa with you. You can ask a spirit to make that cast iron skillet move. Right? You can ask them to touch the furniture just so you can't touch it. Okay? So this room, so we refer to it as the linen room. Usually this room was a home where the majority of the cleaning would have taken place, as well as some preparing of meals, since there's a fireplace in here. Now, while you're in the linen room, you are going to try to reach out to the spirits of those enslaved people. Now, a note on these enslaved people. This was not a plantation. This is a city. These were skilled laborers. They were cooks, nannies, butlers, seamstresses, cobblers, blacksmiths, stable boys, right? They had skills. So when you're reaching out to them, ask them about their career. Ask them about their family. Ask them about their food that they were cooking, if they had a
that reason, we believe that he's the son of enslaved people and an enslaved person himself. We have had him reach out to people on these investigations a lot. We don't talk about him during the court. We think that his name is Bobby. At this point, we know we call him Bobby. If you get equipment to go off in here, maybe it's Bobby. Maybe it's not. But at least you have a name to throw out there and try to connect. I would try the flashlight trick with Bobby, set him your flashlight on the table and ask him to answer those yes or no questions. But definitely reach out to him, and sometimes he likes the group and follows them around for rotation through. So before we go into the next room, I can't really see any. If anybody's wearing dangly earrings that are of any sort of value to you, you might want to take them out and put them in your pocket or your purse. This sounds like a scare tactic. We have a lot of people call us after leaving our property asking for their earrings back, and we don't return them because we don't know where they are. Now, by all means, leave your earrings in if you want to, but if you lose any earrings tonight, I told you. I think it's a little tip. I don't think it's a spiteful thing. I think you have something shiny dangling on your face, and they're trying to connect with you. If you want, you can take your earrings out, or your watch, or your necklace, or your ring, or whatever, and place it on a table and use it as a trigger object. You can ask the spirit to touch the things that you brought. Ask them to knock it off the table if you're ring, that's up to you, or ask them to make it move. But just so you know, we do have people lose earrings. Alright, so we're gonna head into the next room. Go ahead and push through those double doors. Please no. I did have someone take out her earrings once in this room where it normally happens, and then she felt what she described as like a feather brushed back in her earlobe.
No, it's okay.
Doors on the way. All right. So, as I told y'all, this lower level was the enslaved people's working quarters. But there was a time that this room served a different purpose. Between 1845 and 1850, this was the medical office of Dr. Frank Sorrel. Frank was one of Francis's oldest sons. Frank was a trauma surgeon. This was a makeshift operating room for 5.5 years. And he was a gifted trauma surgeon. He had the lowest mortality rate in the nation. But the lowest mortality rate in the nation in 1845 was 51%. He lost over half of his patients. There was a lot of death that occurred in this room. We believe this is the most actively haunted room. We also believe it's the most physically active, meaning people feel things in here more often than any others. So pay attention to how you're feeling. Now, Frank could be here. I've heard from mediums that he's here. I'm not too convinced that he is, but try to reach out to him if you want to. I do absolutely believe that the spirits of his former patients still linger here. The majority of surgeries that he was performing were amputations and the removal of bullets. He was also seeing locals who were falling off their horse and carriage and getting hurt that way. So if you want to get specific with your questions when trying to reach out to them, maybe bring up those types of surgeries. Ask, was it an amputation? Was it your left leg? Right? Ask them specific questions, okay? So back behind you is a 19th century wheelchair. It has a REM pod on it. So that's one of the REM pods. That's the one that's in the lower level. So you can try to reach out to whoever might be with that wheelchair. Ask them to come toward you or roll away from you. That wheelchair has moved several times in the about 1.5 years that we've had it on the property. It's locally sourced from Savannah, and it is period correct. So ask whoever's with that wheelchair to come toward you. Now, in spite of all of the death that occurred in this room, we do have, and a note on the wheelchair actually real quick, it's a really slight movement, usually. So especially when you're in the dark, you might not see it move, but you might hear it. It has a squeaky wheel in the back, and the 2 front wheels you will hear when they roll over the brick. So you should be listening for the wheelchair moving. All right. Now, in spite of all of the death, we do have more kids down here. There are 3 children spirits we know of who like to play in the lower level. Bobby you already know about. The other one we're not sure. We've gotten differing names. And the last one is Sarah. Sarah is a little girl who we believe loves to play hide and seek with our guests. Now, I hear myself say that. I too hear that it sounds like the plot line of a bad horror movie. A little ghost girl plays hide and seek. Sounds like I'm making it up to scare you. But we have a lot of people report feeling their ankles touched, their shoelaces being played with, feeling pokes in the back of the leg when they're sitting on that sofa or standing near a piece of furniture. We believe she's hiding underneath the pieces of furniture, and she's letting you know you found her by touching you. Now, when you are touched by a ghost or a spirit, it does not feel like a human touch. If you feel a human touch while you are investigating tonight, it is the person on your team who's trying to scare you. It does feel like cobwebs that are brushing your skin and you can't get rid of them. It feels like a loose hair that you can't find, like a bug crawling up your skin or a feather brushing over it. That's most common, like a soft tickle. Other times it can feel like a warm sensation. Graham was talking about that happening in this room. A man was standing near that desk, and he said that he felt warmth on his arm, and then he walked away, and it went away. A good way to test if you have any funny feeling here, a good way to test if it's paranormal or not, is to move. Especially if you walk into a room and you feel different, sad, dizzy, cold. Walk out of the room, cross that threshold again, and see if the feeling follows you. If that feeling goes away immediately when you cross that threshold, maybe it's paranormal. If the feeling follows you all the way back to your hotel after this, it's probably just you. That's a good way to test it out. Definitely walk back and forth between thresholds and see if things follow you or not. All right, so there's a lot going on in this room. You have the spirits of the former patients. You maybe have Dr. Frank. You have the kids, and you also have the enslaved people. This was used for dry storage for quite a while. Sit on this sofa while you're here. Invite the kids to play with you while you're here. Count down from 10 in this room and have everybody spread out. Play tag, play duck, duck, goose. If you're having fun, maybe they'll want to join you, right? But this sofa is a hot spot, so spend some time on it and in the breezeway. All right, so y'all can push through those double doors. I'm going to blow out these oil lamps, and then I'll leave you upstairs. Now, if you notice, over here, it makes noise. If you want to turn the floor fan that's over here off to get rid of that noise, you can. If you want to turn the floor fan up because you're hot, you can. It is there for your use. So follow me up this way.
I can see next.
Alright, so everybody's filing in, make sure there's room for all of us. Everyone, yeah. Alright, so little disorienting coming through a dark basement. Just so you know where you are, that's the front door. So if you were a guest at this house, this would be the first area that you would see. Now this is an area where we do have a lot of reports of footsteps. So I put the EDI right here on the staircase. We have reports of footsteps in the foyer as well as coming down the staircase. I know it's lighting up blue right now. That's just because we're all in here with our walkies and I just turned it on. But this is where you can rap on the railing and ask a spirit to imitate you. Okay? Alright, so we're going to do a really quick lap in this room. You can go ahead and push through that door. Thank you. Okay, so this mean, I don't really have any tips for you in here. Don't worry about, but this is probably the least active room. So spend some time here if you want to, and just have a good visual aid in practice, and stacking white Matilda is right above them on the right. So if you're trying to conjure a spirit, then you have a visual aid is helpful. Alright, we're gonna head right on across the way to the parlor room. I am gonna turn this light off.
Years.
Alright, so we are now in the parlor rooms of the Sorrel-Weed home. The parlor rooms are the rooms where the Sorrel's parties would have taken place, and this house was the party house of Savannah during its time. Everybody wanted to come to the Sorrel's parties. So while you're up here investigating in the parlor rooms, try to drum up the energy of those parties. Play music. Even with your phone's on airplane mode, you can still play music. Don't play it too loudly. There will be people below you. And noise obviously travels in an old home, so be considerate of them, but dance around. Play music. Talk about the parties you throw. Ask them about their parties. Talk about what you like to drink, that kind of stuff. Have fun in here. Now, at the end of the party, the guests and the family would be required to separate by gender. This was like way in the early morning hours, right? They'd been drinking and dancing and eating all night long. And then they would have been required to separate. So that room back there is the ladies' parlor, while this room right here is the gentleman's parlor. Not all of you have both genders. There's only one group with both genders, but separate your group by gender if you want to. Have the gentlemen in here, have the ladies in there. Try to reach out to your respective genders, or switch it and have the ladies come in here, gentlemen go in there, ask them to dance with you. I don't know. Try to drum up some energy that way. But try separating your group by gender. You could get some success there. Now, everybody, or a couple were pointing out these mirrors. This one and the one in the ladies' parlor take pictures in these mirrors. Some of our best photographic evidence is captured in them. So definitely take more than one at a time. Use the live photo or the burst mode. Now, these were not just the party rooms. These are the public rooms. These are the most beautiful rooms in this home. So if there was a loss in the family, they would hold their wake in these rooms. You also might be walking into the family, hanging out in their living room together. I'm just telling you that because you never really know what you're walking into. So I would start out by trying to play music and having fun. But if that feels inappropriate to you, if that feels like it's the wrong vibe, abandon that idea and try something else. It could be a different kind of thing. All right. So everybody can head into the ladies' parlor. I'm going to share with you the main story of the night, and then you'll get to investigating.
No sitting.
They're going to make another note. Yeah. So yes, no sitting on, leaning on, touching any of the furniture. That's okay. We were kidding about it. Please don't touch the furniture up here. All of it is going to be off limits. You can sit on the floors, and the floors are original to the home. So put your equipment on the floors maybe. Also, there's a piano over there. Obviously, you shouldn't touch the piano, but ask the spirits to play the piano, especially if anybody is musically inclined. Ask them to play something that you could recognize, a chord or a note. And when you're asking them to play a note, I would have your group spread out. In the past, we've had the person in the room with the piano not able to hear it, but someone across the hall in the study did hear it. So have your group spread out a little bit, and they can tell you what they heard, even though they're not hearing you ask it. Okay? So try that. All right. So this is a haunted house. You were expecting to hear about some tragedy. You already know about the Revolutionary War. You already know about the surgery. You know that there was death on this property. But there was familial tragedy too. So March 27, 1860, the Sorrels were planning another large luxurious party. And Matilda, the lady of the home, wanted to know how preparations for her party were going. In order to find out how preparations were going, she would have found her most entrusted enslaved person, and she would have asked her. Her most entrusted enslaved person's name was Molly. Now the third location where you'll be investigating tonight is the upper level of the Carriage house. That was where the enslaved people lived. And Molly had her own private bedroom up there. Every time it's your turn to investigate up there, I will bring you up there myself, I will turn on a light, and I'll give you a little more info about it. March 27th, 1860, Matilda's looking for Molly, can't find her. The last place she thinks to look for Molly is Molly's bedroom. She does find Molly in her room. She also finds Francis, her husband, in Molly's bed with her. And we can take an educated guess as to what Francis was doing in Molly's bed with her. But it is very important that we keep in mind, Molly was an enslaved person. Francis was Molly's enslaver. It is very doubtful that she ever had a choice. And Matilda was devastated. Matilda ran down the steps from the carriage house. She ran back into her home. She ran above us to the 3rd floor where she locked herself in her bedroom. And then she came out to the 3rd-story balcony and she tumbled over the ledge of the balcony. She fell head first, and 12 hours later, she passed away from head trauma. Now, just about 2 weeks after Matilda died, again, nobody could find Molly. Again, they're looking all over the house. Again, the last place that they think to look for Molly is Molly's bedroom. And again, they find Molly in her room. But this time, Molly is hanging from a rafter in the ceiling of her bedroom. Now, because Molly was an enslaved person, she was considered property. There was never an investigation that went into her death. We at this museum believe that Molly was murdered. We know from records that people on average were shorter in this day and age. We think that Molly was probably 4'11". The rafters in the ceiling of her bedroom are very tall. It is also absolutely worth noting that historically, hanging was a white person's way of killing a person of color. There's a lot of mystery that enshrouds both of these women's deaths. I cannot tell you exactly what happened to Molly, and I can't tell you exactly what happened to Matilda either. I can't tell you that Matilda jumped over that balcony. I can't tell you she wasn't pushed. Matilda's death was reported as an accident. It was reported publicly that she fainted over that balcony. I think that was to save face for this family. I can tell you, Matilda is not buried with her family. She's buried outside of their mausoleum, alone in an unmarked grave. There's no reason for her to be buried that way unless it was suicide. So when you look at these deaths from these historic angles, most people are going to come to conclusions of murder and suicide, but this is the most authentic version of these stories that we're able to piece together for you tonight. Now, you have permission to reach out to whomever you want to reach out to while you're here. You have permission to ask them interesting, thought-provoking questions. But please do not provoke these spirits just for provocation's sake. We work really hard to be respectful and kind to everything that exists on this property. So while you're here tonight, I ask that you have respect for this house, because this is first and foremost an historic home museum, respect for each other, respect for everybody who's here tonight, and respect for the spirits, right? We would not be able to hold this event if we thought we were putting you in harm's way in any way. The energy that you put out is the energy that you get back. So I just ask that you uphold the respect that we work really hard to maintain. It's a really easy rule. It's kind of a sour note to end on, but I gotta drive it home here at the end. Are there any questions at all regarding history, names refreshers, equipment, anything? Yes, please.
I have a question. Why aren't the upper floors open?
So the 3rd and 4th floors are actually deemed unsafe by the Historic Foundation of Savannah. This day and age, when you go to historic homes, you usually cannot go to the top floor because we don't have the proper fire escapes to meet 2019's regulations. Yeah, they would require us to build an exterior staircase, which we're not going to do to an 1840 mansion. So at this time, it's deemed unsafe. Also, I'm glad that you brought this up because there is a former caretaker who is sometimes on the property and who is here tonight. He knows that we have an investigation going on until 2 in the morning, and he should be quiet, but if you hear footsteps that sound like an adult male and you can track them, it's a real person. If you hear different kinds of footsteps, or just 1 or 2, and you can't track them, that would probably not be him. He is the only person upstairs, okay? So you can differentiate those. So thanks for asking.
Yes,
What was Matilda's sister's name, the first wife?
Lucinda.
And she never lived here?
She never lived here. That's right. Lucinda was Francis's first wife. Lucinda was Matilda's older sister. Matilda was contracted into the marriage with Francis. She was contracted into a marriage with her brother-in-law, and she gave him 8 children, but 3 of them died as kids. Matilda had a hard time. She is pretty well documented to have had depression. If you want, you can ask her about that gently. One of her kids was Matilda Ann, who I think still lingers here. So if you want to bring up Matilda Ann, you could. You might be able to even have her answer your question. She has been seen coming down the staircase in the foyer and sometimes following people into the study. Also, I noticed that the chandelier was blinking when I was talking about Matilda Ann. So I would bring up Matilda Ann while you're investigating.
Did Lucinda have children?
Lucinda did. Yeah, Frank was one of Lucinda's kids. They had 3 kids together, but she died after 5 years of marriage. Yeah.
How'd she
Yellow
die?
fever?
She died of yellow fever.
Really how she died?
That is really how she died.
Yeah, sounds like a pretty, guy.
Yeah, Francis was a scoundrel, to put it nicely. Lucinda passed away from yellow fever, which at that time was known as the devil's disease, and was a tough way to go. Yeah, so she passed away, and then Matilda passed away many years later. Any other questions? No? Feeling okay? Okay. All right. Oh, by the way, I don't think I mentioned there is a REM pod in here, so if you want to reach out to whoever might be with this REM pod, you can. Now, this door in the ladies' parlor, if you don't open it wide enough, it'll start to close on its own. It's not a ghost. It's just a heavy historic door.
Does it happen all the time?
It happens. It happens when I tell these stories in this room on the investigations. It happens almost every single time. We don't tell this story in the ladies' parlor, except I'm the only one who does it on the investigations, and it almost does it every single time. Yeah. It's really neat. I've had mediums walk onto the property and tell me that Matilda shows up to hear me tell this story. Yeah, which is kind of neat. So we're going to go ahead and start investigating with that door. You wanted to make sure that you're opening it wide enough or closing it. Keep doors open, close them however you want to do it. The door across the hall that leads downstairs that has the red light, please keep that door shut. It just works as a barrier for noise between the 2 levels, but every other door up to you. Okay. All right, so I'm going to drop off this group of 5 up here. Y'all are going to start investigating at the party started, whatever you want to do. And then everybody else will go downstairs, and I'll drop off the group and bring over a group to the carriage house after investigating. Yeah, you want to go there first? I think we should start here.
Just so you guys know, I got touch shots in this room. If we're done, it's not like a lawn.
So yeah, the group of 5, you have the parlor, the foyer, and the study.
Yeah, and I didn't know, and then this is the second one that she talked about. Yeah, I know, like it kept moving, and I kept I was like, I guess. So, I thought it was me.
There's a doll on that chair. Well, she's obviously here.
Matilda Ann.
So, I'm wondering, should I put this down maybe?
Yeah.
Send it to Matilda, if you're here.
Right. Oh, yeah. Okay. You want to put it on the book, or? Where do you want to put it?
Mr. Report on there, how much does the report on my phone?
Okay, report, is that what you got to put? Report. So we press report first? No, there's no report on there, no, we just do reverse. You guys have to do reverse. Okay.
Okay. Matilda, if you're here, can you show us a sign? Do you have a flashlight? Do you have the clicking? Matilda.
She said do a live photo, but I don't want her to change this to a live photo. I want her to use.
Matilda. Matilda, if you're here, can you please let us know? Matilda, my name is Jessica. If you're here, do you think you could walk in front of the couch and make the room light up? Maybe it's gonna take your time to go there.
Hi Matilda, my name is Teresa. If you are here, could you move these photos? If you are here with me, could you move these photos? My name is Teresa. I would love to meet you. Matilda Ann.
Matilda Ann, my name is Kara. I noticed there was a doll on the chair. If this is your doll, can you please light up the REM pod on the couch? Matilda Ann, if the doll is yours, can you make the flashlight blink 1 for yes or 2 for no to tell us if the doll is yours, yes or no?
I'm wondering if we should play some music. Maybe she's in a party. Maybe.
Music, I've only got trap music on my phone. It's like,
Hey. She might want to get really, Come on, Matilda, we're gonna have some fun, girl.
she might be offended.
Be like, are you what? Did they say that? So we're supposed to gather around and like have everyone in the party?
Yes.
Oh. Because this is the party room, right?
Yeah. I don't feel like she's in here anymore. I feel like she's in the next
I feel
room.
like she went with her.
Yeah,
I felt like she went with her.
I think she's following her.
Ridiculous. Oh, you're right.
Hello?
That's weird.
Is it for the party there?
I'm here to party.
Hey.
That's somebody's phone. Party. Somebody's phone.
Oh, that's my phone. Sorry.
Are we partying? Hey. I don't know the song, but I'm partying. Hey. But she said take a picture, right? Alright.
Yeah, turn your flashlight on first. Try it without flash.
Yeah, I did one before.
Yeah, do it without flash. I saw more when I was in here yesterday because of flash.
What you got? To put it on motion, I think that's what the live mode is for me. Motion mode.
I don't think she's in here anymore. Nothing's happening.
What is that?
I can't remember what I did. This is the K2 with that.
I can't, but it just scared me.
Big baggy shirt on, I have earrings. You're welcome to touch them. You can plug on them. You won't scare me. And I'm not scared of you. I just want to be a friend. I want to get to know you. Like, yeah. Bobby, is there anything you can here? You can tell us if you just want it. If you want to like each, or if you just want one person in here.
Is it the one that lights up?
Well, if you could let us know, there's in the pan on the stove for maybe you like to sit there. If you could go there, there's a EVP. And you can flash for us so we know that you're here. Or you could flash a light.
Maybe come over in this room.
Okay.
I'll bring your flashlight over here.
You're bringing a flashlight. I just saw something on my picture. If you can make. Wait, before we go out, do you want to do spirit box? You just have something. Yeah, something blue on my picture, but I don't know if this does. Bobby, if you're in here, or anyone else. Or this one. Is it recording on your phone? Yeah, I have it recorded on this. That's easier. Bobby, if you're in here, if you could tell us hi, if your name is Bobby, you can say yes. I'm Nan. If I already said that, but
My name's Stacy,
I live in Savannah now. I've been here for a little while.
and I'm visiting from Ohio. In Ohio, we didn't have any enslaved people that worked for us. All of the people like you were free. And if I lived back then, I would try and help you become free. What's that? It's upstairs. Yeah.
If you want us to play with you, I would love to play a game. I love games. If you want to play hide and seek, you can tell me.
I think I saw Sarah last time I was here. Sarah, do you have white shoes? White boots?
Are you over here, Sarah? I have a daughter named Sarah. She's my youngest little girl. I love the name Sarah.
Sarah, if you want to, we'd like to see you again. We love to see pretty white boots, with your outfit that you have on.
I have a toy on my bag. You can play. You can take it if you want to. Came all the way from Hong Kong, from really far away. But you're welcome to go play with it. You can touch it. It's really soft. You can dangle it. It makes noises. I don't feel anything. I don't feel it.
If there's a spirit that knows how to play an instrument, can you please turn on the flashlight?
You were sad about what you saw. Matilda, if you were sad about seeing Matilda, okay. Were you sad? That is not a good question. Was she in a racket? She made that like, did you, y'all she looked alike? Yes, as soon as she said that comment.
How she committed suicide?
Yes, how she committed suicide and how she caught, the young lady in the bedroom with her husband. She said something. If you felt some type of way about that, Matilda, can you go past the pod?
Feelings about that would be fairly angry. I don't think this is a good option.
Okay, so Matilda, let's not talk about that.
Okay.
Hey.
Maybe we can ask her about her children.
Yeah.
She had how many children?
She had 8 children.
She said she lost 3.
She lost her eight, so she had 5 children living.
You had 8 beautiful children.
Matilda, if you're here in the room, can you let us know by clicking the flashlight off? If you would like to tell us about your children, can you tell us how you had 8 children?
My downstairs. Yes.
There's one K2. Did I get my K2 out?
Yeah, I think we have 3. Yeah,
One's
we
still
do.
in there?
No, I have, there's one on the floor over there.
And then there's
One on the table.
Okay. Should we go dark?
Wait, I'm gonna walk over here.
Feel weird again?
If anyone's in here, feel free to touch me.
What?
There's no people outside that door. Why are they in there though?
I saw them flashing. I don't know, they're outside there.
See where it is lit up there.
Somebody's taking pictures of me.
Somebody's in there.
Yeah, they're right there at that door.
Yeah. Why are they over there?
I don't know. Why are they there? How'd they get there?
Do you have your walkie-talkie?
I'm not gonna, because that brings everybody. I know. It's just a guy and a girl, it's not a ghost.
I mean, is it anybody in our group though? Should they be there?
Sorry. I don't know. I don't know. It's just like open right there. Yeah, how did I get there? There's a light.
Oh, is she telling them to leave? I heard somebody talking.
He looked weird.
I know, he's pretty creepy looking.
He just stared at us, like blank, like.
Did they go?
No, now they're like knocking on another.
I thought, I heard
That was upstairs.
No, that did not sound like it was upstairs.
I heard that too. If there's someone in here, maybe I'll knock on this door. You can knock back.
What?
I'm gonna knock twice to say hi. If you're here, knock back again.
Is that you, Savannah?
My name is Nan. If you're okay with me being here, can you please knock again? If you don't want us here, can you knock?
Can I knock? Can you repeat the knocks that I do? I did 4 knocks. Where did that come from?
I don't know. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna knock right here. If you hear me knock, I'm Nan. If you want to talk to me for some reason, I'm here to talk to you. I'm gonna knock twice. Knock back if you want me to stay here.
Do the shaking of your head again.
Okay. Finish this knock if you know it.
I can't tell if it's coming from upstairs. I mean, if it's the ladies upstairs.
Knock, knock.
Hear that? It sounds like it went knock, knock. But I can't tell if it's the ladies upstairs. Right, since we're kind of getting activity, let's try the spirit box.
I'm gonna stay here.
You want a flashlight, Jackie?
If you want to play hide and seek, repeat this knock.
Sarah, is that you? Are you knocking for us?
Or Bobby, maybe? I'm gonna knock again. If you can count, I'll knock 3 times. If you can count 2 more.
If you're knocking for Hannah, can you come over here by this funny chair that has wheels on it?
I'll turn my flashlight off. Maybe you don't like the light. I'm here. My name is Nan. If you can feel free to touch me if you're here. If you're trying to communicate with me, you can touch me.
If you want to, you can turn on these flashlights. These lights that are laying here on this table.
I'm going to knock twice. Knock back if you want to communicate.
Right, I'm going to go over there by that. Is it kind of come around the stairs?
Yeah.
Okay. You know we should go in that young area with
I'm going to myself.
Did it move last time when she had it?
It's not moving at all. Is there a way to turn it on and off?
Maybe time she look at that.
Yeah, I think it should be moving too.
There you go. Okay, so she. That has to move. Just
It hasn't moved at all.
so I'm not gonna.
So I don't think there's any activity right now.
This is where the ladies used to be, right? So how about we all sit on the floor and see if it's a little Why you have to come this way? Come over here.
We're kind of having a meeting, a ladies meeting, a ladies night, girls night out. Let's get to know each other a little bit more.
Right. This is a party. Where's Ashley?
She's up there.
You are?
We're having a girls' powwow.
Yeah, come on over.
We're gonna sit down. I might not be able to get back up.
Yeah, I
We're
know.
gonna sit down.
It's 75.4 in there.
Is it? It's 75.4.
So you already go sit over there.
Is the temperature 75.4?
Holy crap. She is.
She is here.
She is here. So I guess this powwow was a great idea.
Yeah.
Ashley, come sit at the powwow.
Matilda, would you like to join us?
Yeah, Matilda.
All of the ladies here, we're all going to get together.
We're going to get to know each other.
You know, and depression back then was like just thought people were just crazy.
Right. And today it's so bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's so bad.
I had it after my son was born, but not until 2 months after he was born. So it was like on late onset, and it's like the worst feeling.
Like the postpartum mix with the depression. It's like the worst.
And they didn't have any type of like drugs back then to counteract the effects.
You just thought that you were just crazy. Just, well, in our community, we never talk about it. We still do not talk about it a lot.
Really?
In African American community, you don't talk about depression or because it's a sign of weakness,
Okay.
and you don't want to portray yourself as being weak. So it's really hard breaking through that. So, even with people trying to go get him,
Really?
because you don't want,
Okay, that makes sense.
you don't want people, like my parents, my mom used to tell me what goes on in the house stays in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't tell people.
Yeah, my mom would say, don't air our dirty laundry.
You don't tell people your problems, so you don't want anybody to know. And if you did say something like that, you'd be ostracized with the family, so you black sheep. So you just didn't say it. Is that how you feel?
I'm sure we never did. Maybe we can have a flashlight. I tried that, the flashlight. Well, I know she's here now. Matilda, if you felt the way that Joan was explaining, please move the flashlight.
All right, it is time for your first rotation. So there's those in the lower level, they'll be in the carriage house. And those in the carriage house will head upstairs to the farther room.
Did you see that? It went up.
Yeah, you see it? You just did it again. Matilda, it was so nice to be with you today.
If you want to, you can follow us down to the lower level so you can get to know you more. We would love to hear from you. The women powwow group. Flashlight. I want to take a picture. Is it still 75.4? Lower. walked in this room, when I was standing in this room, like they were talking earlier, I felt like something was on my neck.
Hey, did y'all see when I twisted my body?
Yeah.
My back like tensed up, like really bad. And I was
Yeah.
there, weren't you? You were over there. I was at, we were in this room. Yeah, but you were over here.
Yeah, when she was telling the story, I felt it like on my neck. It was a weird feeling, and then I was like, "Is that my hair? Did I put my hair back?" So
She says the children are the kids. So we're supposed to play hide and seek with.
Yeah, the little girl.
Yeah.
What's her name? Sarah.
Sarah.
Sarah. My name is Kara. Rhymes with just like yours, but with a K. Kara and Sarah. Something else is in here. I feel like something else is in here. I don't feel like the kids are in here.
Yeah, it
feels oppressive in here.
like tense, really tense.
Yeah.
And like, yeah.
I swear, I wish I showed me
This was during the day?
This was our night tour yesterday.
Oh, okay. And they said, oh, this.
They said the saddle man is down here over there. He gets all that activity in that hallway.
I know, but I could have, she said he could be anywhere. But I could have sworn he was sitting in the wheelchair yesterday. Did you see that?
You saw that?
Did you see that like ball of light?
On your, it's right there. Look. Oh, just kidding.
Just kidding.
Yeah, just kidding. I'm looking at her camera.
No, I mean before I took the picture, did you see that little ball of light go across the room? That's weird. Okay, let me see. Right now I'm gonna do it without my flash. Wait a minute. Just do a live. Okay. This wasn't on the door in the first picture. This is on the door in the second picture.
If someone is here, could you move the rocking chair?
There's somebody here that knows that I hear there's a lot of people that know how to cook. And they're down here. I'm feeling kind of hungry. I'm feeling thirsty. If somebody's here that's a really good cook, I hear that there's a lot of cooks in here. Can you please show us a sign? Can you use the wheelchair?
Did she just walk into a whole room by herself?
Yeah, there's nothing on there. It's just in my photo.
Hey.
Can you push the wheelchair? Please? There. But it wasn't there. It's not on the door.
What are you looking for?
And it's not. Why does it have flash on?
Yeah. Do you have both of the flashlights?
You can make that little word.
You have the
But
flashlight.
if I looked on the door, there's nothing there.
Did you put the flashlight on? No.
YouTube, you could see, from last night, you could see all those little orange going across the screen when nobody was in the room.
Really? You could?
You couldn't.
But maybe it could have been like, dust or.
But she had that.
Remember how she said that you will lose an earring, but will you lose a flashlight too?
You lost a flashlight?
Yeah, it's not, I don't have it.
Where you had it?
In my hand.
When?
No, I didn't.
No,
Because it was right here. It almost fell. It almost fell and I picked it up.
No.
Where is the flashlight? Oh shit. Oh shit.
Look under the couch. Oh my gosh, I'm so scared.
I believe.
Where she got it? She got it?
I've got my flashlight. Where was it?
She has it. Where was
It was
it?
in my pocket.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe they were playing games.
Yeah, because I didn't put it in my pocket, Mom. It was in my hand. That's why when asked me, like, what are you looking for? I'm like, my flashlight.
Well, look at this. What is happening? What is going on in my picture? Oh, it's a loop. Oh, it's just a thing. Never mind.
Look, I think we're just all over.
I think we're all on pins and needles.
Okay. Let's take a picture without the flash this time.
Won't you do it within the kids supposed to be playing up under the furniture?
Yeah,
It don't bother me.
Okay.
I had my eyes closed trying to see if I can like concentrate.
Should we see if like maybe whoever's in here will roll the flashlight.
This room was also the
Right.
surgery room
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah.
it could, I mean, if it's a person.
There's
it
probably
could
like
be-
blood soaked into these bricks.
It could be somebody that
Yeah, that's what I
is
said.
hurt.
We think that we feel someone here with us that has been injured before, or something bad happened to them in this room. If this is the case, can you move the flashlight?
The radio? No, the other thing. Oh, because she had it. She took it from me. Maybe that's what you.
If you're here, can you make the wheelchair roll a little bit?
Do you have that, radio feedback? You need it? No. She got it.
If you're here,
Whoa! No, 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 no.
Oh, it's screaming, bro.
Wow.
Watch. Did you see it come down? Right in your stomach.
Dude, I was just in here and I literally asked, the parties were good here, right? You did some cooking, you had some drinks, and some fucking woman came over that and said, yes, I did. And I got fucking chills and, no, dude.
Oh, that's delicious. It's dreams.
Okay,
It's over our radio.
okay.
it's over here.
That was not
What was behind that building?
behind what?
What was in, is this where we came up?
Over here?
What was in here?
That's where we came up, I think.
There's so much like dust and shit in here or something.
That was not cool. What did she say to do with this thing on the steps?
Watch it.
I mean, it keeps bouncing back and forth, the temperature, but.
Of course it is. But
It's just me and Amber, and I'm like, oh, sorry, I didn't know you were in there, and Amber literally answered me from like in front of the staircase. She was like, what? I was like, oh, never mind. Ooh. Yeah.
Can you light up this little green light? That'll let us know that you're here. You want to play the piano for us? No listening to piano. Or relaxing.
that's all I looked at the door.
Imagine so.
I was living in the chandelier. Oh, dude's eyes behind you? It's big eyes. Poke holes in them. Yeah, see? Looks like water. If you look at the right angle. Rip holes in them. Poke holes right into them. Who's Cunningham to? Yeah, let Cunningham. Oh, was that her painting?
Yeah.
I guess it was a pen. That's pretty cool. It's gonna have a seat right here. Just like whoever got shipped into one of these parties. Right? They're going to hang out.
But anyways, go ahead. But I just felt so comfortable. And it was so really? Yeah. Like, it was like I walked into my own house. And I was like, oh, I get to enter by myself. I can take a nap. Like, it was very, like, remembering everything. I told him, I said, that's kind of creepy. It's probably not me. We should make, I'm a 19 and 5 nursing assistant. Like, I started seeing like all those review vision, people on operating table or whatever. Yeah, I mean, that's probably just information, but I felt very uncomfortable. Like I felt like I needed to do something on this. So crazy. Like I just, like I knew nothing about this house the first time I walked in. I didn't talk about it beforehand. I didn't know any of the stories, nothing. And we walked into that basement, and I was like, especially the room where they said that it was the surgical room. We walked, yeah, we walked in there. The first 5 seconds I was in there, I was like, man, I just feel like a weight has been lifted off. I feel comfortable. I feel like at ease. And then they start telling all the stories, and I'm like, wow.
You feel good in here.
I was being really.
We watch this tomorrow. And the ghost is just right there.
Oh, we have the same one.
Why would you be scared? It's already over, right?
Girl, you just don't like that.
Should we try to be quiet and listen? What? Like, you haven't tried that. Yeah, or do the thing again? We tried it, but we didn't really, wasn't very long.
Is the doctor here? What was his name, doctor? Dr. Frank. It was Dr. Frank. It was just so funny when I said that. Dr. Frank, the doctor. Dr. Frank. She's like, is the doctor here? Is the doctor in? I'm going to see if I can try and get her to sit on. Dr. Frank, are you here? We heard you're a very good doctor. We heard you are a really, really good doctor. That you performed many operations that were successful.
You were the best in your time.
You saved many soldiers.
Was that done right in this room?
If it was done right in this room, can you walk in front of the wheelchair to make the REM pod go off? Dr. Frank would love to hear from you, to learn more about you. We heard that it was amazing how you saved so many people's lives. We would love to hear that you're here with us tonight. Can you push the wheelchair forward a little bit for us to let us know that you're here? I know you might be very tired from working so hard. Can you just push it a little bit for us or let us know that you're here? Dr. Frank, are these your tools? Oh. Are these your tools? They look like they served you very well. Look, he's right here. He's right here. It looks like it serves you very well. These are your tools, aren't they?
Come here. Now you should go investigate. I'm listening to the radio thing.
You can go right up to your tools now. These are your tools. Nobody else's tools is yours, Dr. So these are your tools. These are your tools. Can you make the REM pod on the wheelchair make a noise? Dr. Frank, I'm gonna knock. Can you, after I knock once, can you knock once back?
It sounded like a knock, and it sounded like.
I'm gonna knock again, I'm gonna knock again. And if you're here with us today, tonight, right now, can you knock back, please?
That was him. He's here.
Oh, no,
Oh,
sorry.
no, he's gone.
Where'd he go?
Oh, doctor.
He's here, this is something. Dr. Frank, come back.
Dr. Frank, we were having a great conversation. I wanted to learn more about your tool.
Oh. He's gone.
He's gone. Let's go into another room. Let's see if you want to another room.
I wanted to record, as soon as I said I wanted to record that, he went away, he left. Dr. Frank, we would love it if you would come back. I won't record you. I have to be honest, this is my favorite part of it. Actually, this is my favorite part. I'm putting my phone down and my flashlight. I'm not going to record anything.
Can I see the other one?
Of course.
Let's see if we can find Bobby.
Dr. Frank, I would love it if you would come back. He's Bobby. I'm sorry. I'm not going to record you. As you can see, my recording equipment's on the table. I'm not going to record you. We just want to have a more conversation with you. Show me. Dr. Frank, come down here. Are these your tools? Are these your tools? I don't think they already left. Okay, you can make your They said we could sit in this chair, right?
Yes, yes,
Alright, it's time for your second rotation. So there's some further.
I think that last one.
I don't think it's the way to open the door. Oh, hang out with that little man. That's all I want to do. Sit on fire. Everybody else is weird.
Yeah, I have it. I need to get the other.
Oh, man. Girl.
Where are we at? Here, where is the,
This is the surgical room.
this is?
Uh-huh.
That was the
Cleaning
laundry
room.
room, and then the one to the left was the kitchen.
Yep. Little Little man, punch him right in the face for messing with us. They said shit happens on this couch over here too, right?
Yeah.
It kind of freaks me out sitting over here, but.
I had, last time, I had one of those flashlights in my back pocket, and they actually caught it on one of the cameras that they posted on YouTube. And it was inside of my back pocket, and then I was just standing here talking, I wasn't moving, and all of a sudden it flew out of my pocket and
it landed like halfway across the
Shut up.
Thanks for
That's
leaving me up there.
Well, you wandered away.
I was fucking electrified in that front room. where nothing happened.
Electrified. Which room?
The front one where nothing happened. Here.
So I didn't feel anything up there in the carriage house. I felt super hot and super sad. In here, I feel like very uncomfortable. I feel like I need to do something. Does that make sense?
Maybe if you bring that up and start talking about like what you do. Can relate to that.
Yeah, so old girl said that she got her arm wrapped at the Naomi Carriage place.
See? Where at over there?
She said not in Molly's room. She said like standing outside of it.
Right in the doorway?
No, she didn't say in the doorway. She kind of like sat outside of it. She said it was ice cold too.
See, Eric was feeling, my brother was feeling super ice cold, but standing in the doorway, I felt like I started
Burning
sweating to death, and
I
I felt
started
sick.
like feeling like that in the women's parlor, like towards the end.
Really?
I just got super hot.
Is there somebody sick in here? Is there somebody hurt in here? I'm an EMT, I can help, what can I do?
Yeah, because they know what EMTs are.
I'm a nurse.
Now you knocked upstairs. She said they were knocking down here and they didn't know if you knocked or somebody else knocked, but somebody knocked at the same time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I only did it once.
She said they didn't really feel nothing down here or have any, didn't have any contact or anything.
Jeff, do you want me to go with you and sit it out? Like, breeze
So where?
breeze
Like exactly where is the breeze lane in this place?
I think so, here.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, what's Eric going there?
I think that's very cool.
Is there a little boy in here? He's sitting on the couch. Can you come sit next to me?
Oh. Oh my, fuck that.
Oh, there's a wheelchair over there. Can you push on it and let us know you're here? What was the boy's name?
That began with a B.
What? Did you just hear that?
No.
I swear to God you over this stupid fucking thing that said I'm here.
So why are your customers blue down?
Hey buddy, if you're in here, we want to play. Oh my God, it just did it again. Here, take this. I don't want any more. That's twice. I'm here. Nope. I'm done with that.
It's just a simple RF frequency that anybody can tap into.
But when when that happens, you ask a question, that happens, and you get chills when it happens, it's a lot. Well, yeah. Somebody's dancing with me. If you want to dance with me, let's go. Good noises? I will not. There's a lot of voices. Maybe you could play music. I don't have any old music on my phone. If you're dancing with me, show up in the video.
What was it? Is it them downstairs? I don't know.
Maybe you can play the piano for me. Or I'll take a picture in the mirror if you want to show up in the mirror. That would be
I wonder
cool.
if that guy upstairs can hear us, like, he thinks we're nuts.
Probably.
Trying to see if I can finish some wall music or something. Where is it? Okay, I'm sorry. Are you recording? I can't because I'm on your phone.
Yeah. I might have some. Let's see what I've done with it. Maybe you want to hear some. Oh, This is a fun song. It's coming. I can see. It's probably better than your music. Feel pain. We have just as long as you stand right by me. Darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand. Stand by me. Stand by me.
Which couch did you like to sit on?
The way of the pond. Show up in the mirror. To crumble to the sea. I won't cry. Shed a tear. Just for the Lord. There you stand. Stand by me. Darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me. You want to throw me around?
Yeah. No, I could be on
So good at dancing.
Oh my gosh, literally like they go crazy and it's like that spot.
What was the session?
This one? I think that's the big one upstairs. Okay, so you said show up in the mirror and right then something went before you even like started to take a picture. Are you happy?
I said, look at that. Oh.
Look at that.
I said, show up
It
in
like
here.
moved. Did you see that thing?
Oh my gosh,
It did like.
they love me.
Literally.
She'll start like.
We love the party.
Like, it just keeps going. It's a party night.
What
What in the world?
I don't know.
People downstairs are loud.
It stays watching. I'll play a new song. Maybe something louder.
Oh, yeah.
And there was like a dog that was like moving. Like an orange. That was me.
When does it
When
flash?
she comes over here, it does it several different times, but it's like over 3 minutes long. Did you see that?
Okay, but I was taking pictures.
Yeah.
No,
That, you guys were over there talking.
Oh, okay.
Like.
Oh, that was a big orb.
Wow.
Went up. Did you see that?
Yeah. That was crazy.
Every time she was like over in this area. Are you over here by us right now, Matilda? Or maybe it's one of the kids playing around.
Bonnie, I swear to you. I'll play you a new song. Oh, I'll play you this song.
Oh, they're on another one. Just like
Okay, no.
Watch. She'll say, "You want to take a picture?" And it like lights up. There's something before she hits her camera, like right there.
Yeah.
And then we'll just stop. Watch that. Watch it.
Okay, I was having that so myself.
Well, look at it.
Oh, it moved. Oh, okay.
Yes. That was weird. And I could see it with my eye too. Which is
Yeah.
kind of weird. Eyes, it was like.
Yes.
They like the dancing.
We love the parties. Or party group.
See one. It's crazy.
Oh, I just got it work.
Everyone stays with me. Mom, Danny.
I can't, I gotta pick it up.
Maybe take a picture.
Yes.
Wait, ask if you can take a picture of
If everyone wants to take a picture with me for our party, get in this mirror.
Come on, everybody, the party's going
Come
on
on,
here.
let's go party.
Come on in. It's so much fun.
Yay. Everyone come get in the mirror. Woo. Do you like this new music?
I don't get the good light. I'm not gonna take videos. Come on, everybody, the party's really happening. Dancing.
Dancing and clink or drink. Share with me.
You have a spot on you again.
Huh?
When you were taking pictures,
Really?
you have a spot on you again on your legs. And stay on your ankles.
My neighbor. You shutting that? That's a good idea.
You come close to our little machine on the table there. Whoever you are, I thought you grabbed my pant leg.
I'm jealous.
That's good. That sounds like perfume or the cologne. I was just making sure that it was you and not something else.
I know you touched my pant leg, whoever you are, but there's a lot of people here that still don't know that you're here.
My heart is pounding. So. Oh, to hear it. I definitely don't
What did you do with this stuff? Can you show me? I don't know how to use it. Show me how you used it. I don't know what to do and I want to learn.
Please teach my sister how to cook. She's horrible.
It keeps drawing me over the wheel over there. Like, I don't really want to go back to my room over there, so.
Yeah, we were. No, I don't like. Yeah, we were saying earlier. How long did you get from there? Don't do that to me right now. I'm not. I did too.
Because I was looking into the fire cage, and it's something that's been drawing on me over there the whole time. But it wasn't that. It was light. There's no light. There's just light.
Is there something here talking to us? What's following me? What is in here? Say something. Say it.
Sitting there, how's that in here? I didn't either. I just heard shit when we first got it.
Anyone in here? I'm probably the 100th person to ask you that today.
That was a little love.
I just want to get to know you.
You want to grab my cane from me? Yeah. Bullshit, buddy.
What's canceled, buddy?
They hate me.
Like, I'm not even, like, I'm being dead serious about this, but I think it's because it was two lone females. Like,
We just got a little radio call.
Alright.
Burn all our shit back.
Well, the cops. Shot it right in my eyeball.
Yeah, I'm good.
Everything? I think so. Where'd you get them?
There's some more stuff that's sleeping there.
You did say you wanted to protect you.
I know, and you're fucking happening.
Didn't she say that it does go to cops or something? Wow.
Yeah,
That's back in like 5 minutes.
Thanks, little man, for letting me know you're here.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Did you touch the REM pod?
As soon as we left, I was
Of
like,
course I told
I
you
just
not
put
to.
it across and I was like, I wonder if this one works. Because you were like really close.
Well, thank you for listening. Thank you.
At least it was at the end, right?
Yeah, I did at the end.
It was after we called it.
And a walkie from the group of 5.
Oh, sure.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I can't tell you how many times I got home with this attached to my pants. So. Right. And then the last group of you will bring your equipment up here, please.
Oh, it's in front.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you very much. Okay, now. So, thank you. And a walkie-talkie from the group. Yeah. Perfect.
No, she has hers.
All right, great. Thank you very much. All right. So the way that I do the debrief is we just go group by group. And you can either walk me through room by room, or you can just give me a highlight reel, however you want to do it. So we'll just go around the room. So we'll start with this group of 5. What was happening with you guys? What stood out to you?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Us or them?
You were a group of 5. You were all together.
So, upstairs in Carriage House.
That was about the only place that we felt anything. Like,
Okay.
Just the Carriage House in general, like it was just
That was the
creepy.
most active?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I
it's,
wonder if it was for everybody else.
Nothing really happened, but like as we were leaving.
yeah, he came up with like his hairs were standing up on his arms, and we pointed at it, and then the box on the
We were
voice
talking
box
about it, and
just
then
stopped and said something. It wasn't like a radio station because we were listening to it the whole time.
yeah, it said a whole
different.
sentence.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you could tell it was the
Whoa.
same voice, like a whole sentence. Really not hear.
You don't know what it said. It's really hard to make out. Yeah, that's why I tell you to record the audio because it is hard.
Yeah, but you could tell it was the same voice.
Cool.
The whole way through.
Okay.
And like all three of us, like he was at the top of the stairs and we were by Molly's room.
And everybody heard
All
it.
3 of us just stopped and looked at it. We're like, everyone
I
heard
was
that, right?
walking out and I turned around and I was like,
Yeah.
did I just say something?
You heard a bang in there too.
Yeah, when I was sitting there. I
All
was
of
sitting on the ground and they were over there and I was like, I felt it on the ground too.
You were in Molly's room?
I was sitting
Sorry.
right by the bunk beds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because all 4 of us were in Molly's room.
And you didn't hear it.
Uh-uh.
But you
I
did.
heard it and felt it on the ground too.
Whoa. Because I was going to say, there's a dumpster in the alley.
No, I know
this
that. We
is-
heard that.
But
Yeah.
it wasn't that.
No,
No, that was well afterwards.
Okay. Interesting. What do you think it was? Were you saying anything? Were you trying to reach out to anyone when it happened?
Not at all. No, I was just sitting there. Because I got goosebumps again. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna stay in this area.
Yeah.
So I sat down and then. I
Oh,
heard
weird.
it.
That's cool. That's really neat.
Goosebumps have been a good sign. So.
They're a good indicator. Yeah, for sure. What else happened with you guys?
In the
Down
basement.
here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, go like step by step. Like we're in the parlor room, and then you and her heard something, didn't you?
Oh yeah, that thing was just talking.
Yeah,
It sounded like it was saying a bunch of stuff.
The spirit box?
Yeah.
Well, there was,
Saying what?
Couldn't really decipher.
Okay.
But
What were you saying?
all night long I've been saying, if you're here, like touch me, push me, let me
Push me?
here, blah 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 blah.
Okay.
Anyways, I was sitting downstairs in the spirit box and I kept saying, if you're here, let me know you're here. If you're here, let me know you're here. Twice I heard
Yeah.
him here.
Oh, cool.
And I had something grab my,
What did that feel like?
like somebody ripped the back.
Like a tug?
Yeah.
Where was that?
Sitting on the couch.
In the surgery?
But also
Yeah,
in the
that's-
parlor room, she was in the women's side,
Uh-huh.
and she was like, "Well, we were guys' party." I was like, "Did you guys get drunk? Did you do drugs?" Yes, we did.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
came
I heard
across
that
the.
one.
That's
why
is
I
that
said
why
no,
y'all
no,
y'all like
no,
y'all were
no.
like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
y'all up there?
We heard-
Oh
I'm
my
sorry.
God.
That was
Oh no 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 no.
That's funny.
We were
Yeah.
excited. We were like,
It just came from up there.
there was
Oh, yeah.
Well, at that same time,
We heard
something
something
happened to
say,
him.
Yeah,
In
something
that room that
happened.
nothing
Yeah.
ever happened.
Where nothing ever happens, I was like on fire, like all the hair on my arms, legs, head, everything stood up.
Yeah.
And at the same time as when she said something and I felt something, we ended up
We
both
ran
running out of
into
the
the
rooms and
hallway.
we met in the hallway.
Whoa.
So-
Because something happened at the same. So you
At the
felt
same
it and
time,
you heard it
yeah.
on the spirit box, and you both
Maybe.
ran in.
And
Whoa, that's cool. That's what we want. This is the kind of validation that you're looking for. How neat. So you just had the hair raised on your arms.
Oh
Is that
yeah,
what it was?
arms, legs.
Did it feel hot to you too? Like, was there a
That
temperature
time
change?
it did, yeah.
It did.
It was hot.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Okay. Cool. Maybe we were touched.
Yeah, maybe. But I was
Yeah.
touched all over. I didn't like that.
Did something happen to you when you were upstairs when I was before I'd left the area? Yeah, what happened?
I was shining a light on the beam that would have made sense if you were gonna hang somebody, like you wouldn't hung them against the wall.
It would be in the
Like,
middle
more
of the middle
centered
after.
in the room.
I agree.
And I was like, is this what happened? I was standing in the door. It's not like I was in a pinch corner. I was wide open, and it felt just hot as shit, and like somebody was doing this to my arm.
That's what I thought happened. Yeah, it just felt really hot right here on your arm. And then did it go away when you left her
When I
room?
walked out of the room, it was fine, but while I was still in there, it stayed, and then it went from being super hot and just like to kind of more relaxed and just warm, and then it's like this bullshit. And I walked out of the room, and I was fine. I was like, oh, okay, this is definitely bullshit.
He touched you right away.
This is coming from the biggest skeptic there is, so.
Yeah.
It's a big old crunch.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I probably watched the Ghost Adventures or whatever. They're building this up, so there's a psychological effect.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, how often do you think we have paranormal experiences, but we're not looking for them, right? You don't have to go to a haunted house to experience spirits. It's just that we're paying attention to it now, you know? But interesting. Anything else from you guys?
Yeah, my pant leg settled when I lay down on the couch.
Your pant leg what?
Settled whenever I was laying down on the couch.
Okay.
Everybody else is just, like, we could hear you guys all over up there, and then these two were fucking hanging around like 2-year-old fucking crap. They're just okay, well, I'm just gonna relax since all the energy in here is just everywhere. I'll just relax and just chill. I lay down on the couch, kind of receptive, I guess, and like my feet weren't on the couch. This one was closer to the floor, and this one was just kind of hanging. And this pant like just pressed down, like something kind of climbed up and just laid down on the couch.
Neat. Wow. Okay, so you guys had a lot of physical activity. Yeah. That's crazy. How cool. Okay. Great. That was a lot more than I was even expecting. Okay. So let's go to the group of 4, unless there was anything else. No? Okay. So the group of 4. What happened with y'all?
When we were downstairs, we were kind of trying to talk with Bobby, and we weren't really having any contact. And Sarah, and we went into where the wheelchair was, and I was standing near it and asking them to come close to it because Grandpa was on it. And I felt fine, but all of a sudden my heart was like jumping out of my chest. Like it was flip-flopping, and I felt almost lightheaded, so I walked away and it stopped. And then I walked back over, it didn't start again, but I didn't want to stay there too long.
Right. Good. I'm glad that you walked away and it went away like pretty quickly. Okay.
I didn't feel strange any other time. I wasn't nervous or, didn't feel sick or anything. So
yeah.
When we were upstairs, Jackie had her arm go totally cold.
Here.
Like freezing. She touched it and said it felt like a dead body.
They were like, it was like standing straight. All the hairs were standing straight.
Just on that one arm.
Yeah, and it was like freezing ice cold. And I was like, feel my arm. Like, I didn't know if it was just me. And she's like, oh my gosh. Like,
was it when you were in Molly's bedroom, or was it when you
No,
were
I was over by the, like, right past the bunk bed. Like, almost going close to her room. No, over
the
by
other
her
way.
room.
That's where it happened to you.
So that's good. The same thing.
When I've been here before, like on an earlier one, like a group tour.
On a tour, yeah.
And when we were up there, that time, like 3 different times, I could feel, I thought somebody was touching my shirt, but it wasn't a tug, it kind of was like flowing, it was weird. And my nephew was behind me, and I kept turning around, and I'm like, stop it. Like, I thought he was trying to scare me. And she was there, and she's like, Mom, he did not touch you. And I'm like, yeah, right. You know, because like, you guys are trying to scare me. And she's like, he did not touch you. So, like, I've had stuff up there before it happened.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
cool.
we came back and she wouldn't come.
We stood by the air conditioner to see if like that
to
was
see if
causing
that
it,
was
so I
it.
stood there and let my arm get cold.
Oh,
and
her
she
arm.
touched it,
Yeah.
and
It
she's
wasn't
like,
the same.
it's cold. It
But
doesn't
that
feel
was
like
like
that.
an instant. It's not like
Yeah,
I stood
she
there
was
for a
there
while.
for like
and
a
then
second and
I-
ran. Like,
I walked, as soon as I walked over there, instantly did that, like,
And then it went away.
yeah.
And then we were in the parlor pretending like there was a dance, and my
Yeah, I kept
you were the
dancing.
only one dancing at the party.
Yeah.
It was very fun to watch.
Yeah.
and she was videoing her, and we kept seeing orbs flying in and out, and
and
like.
one go, big
Yeah, there was
go
like
up.
a blue one that kind of like stayed there with her, and that
Yeah, and I
scrolled
kept
around.
saying, do you want to take pictures with me? And then they
Every
were like
time she did
fluttering
that.
around.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
There is some dust up there.
Yeah, we saw
Yeah,
that.
Okay.
we saw dust too.
Okay.
There was one.
There was
big
a
one, though,
large
that
one
came
That
from,
flew
like,
up like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like dust. That's not the
No,
way
it
that
was
dust
big.
moves.
I mean, it was
Cool.
like beach ball.
Okay. Cool. Really cool.
I
Nice.
was
So somebody
also
was dancing with
knocking
you.
downstairs. I kept knocking, and I
Was anybody up here knocking when she was
I
knocking?
did one time, but I don't know.
I
But
like
when we were
five
in the basement, the
different
ladies
times.
were
Yeah,
upstairs,
there's
right?
one
Were you
scene.
knocking at all on the?
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
they.
We did.
Okay.
Okay.
Because
We
we couldn't
kept
tell
hearing
if
it back,
it was
but we didn't know.
because we were doing the shave my haircut.
She's like, I'm gonna knock twice. If you had two, knock twice. Did
And
you
it
guys
was
hear
doing
her
so.
knock? And then you knocked twice?
No, we
No.
did not
No.
twice.
I think not once.
We have that on
once,
video.
and then we,
I don't know if we got it. We tried after.
You were in the
It was
surgery room and
happening.
you were knocking on the door,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Then? Okay. But y'all only knocked once?
Oh, no, no,
Like
we were,
one at a
we're
time?
talking about, we knocked when we were in the surgery room.
Oh no, when you were upstairs.
You weren't upstairs
Oh.
knocking when she was downstairs knocking?
I didn't
No.
hear
Knocked
it.
we
No.
did. We did.
Yeah,
When
we did.
she knocked.
In the
We did it,
parlor?
like,
Yeah, it was like
No,
down
no,
the
upstairs
stairs. I
on
didn't
the
hear
stairs
anything.
part.
Yeah, we weren't knocking.
Yeah.
I think that was.
We heard so many knocks back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was you guys.
Cool.
That was the.
Yeah, that was like crazy.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
kind of just thought it was.
We were just
upstairs.
like,
I've only heard knocked back once and it was cool.
Yeah, it was like 5 times.
So is that something we would hear in the live stream or the video?
Yeah, so Devin, what were you just saying?
I was watching you do that. I don't know about the whole time, but just a few times when that did happen. I'm not 100% sure, but I did hear like thuds back, like not knocks, but like thuds that sounded like from
That's what
people
happened to
above.
us. No,
But-
like when we did it, we heard like a huge thud, and we did it a couple times, and every time we asked to knock, it thudded.
When you wanted it to.
Like
Yeah.
yes.
At first we thought it was coming from upstairs,
I
but like
Right.
that's not right. So then we did it again, and it did it again.
Okay. I don't know. It's tough to tell on the camera sometimes.
It is,
Yeah.
especially when the camera's like right next to like the
Yeah.
ceiling where the floor is from
Right.
other people,
Yeah.
so I can't tell if like
That's what we kept saying.
if
Is that
something's like
coming from?
yeah, I'm like, maybe they hear her knocking.
But we
and
really
so
like
they're
a couple times it was like a knock.
Okay.
and it was
Cool.
right back, like,
Well, if you have it on video, check it out.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's cool though if it happens.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah,
so,
that's
it's
cool.
still fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else happened with you guys? Anything else?
Not really aside from just kind of feeling.
oh yeah, we did feel
cobwebs
so
in
like
Molly's room. And
On your
like-
face?
Yeah, like just right here.
Okay, then I felt some on my arms.
Okay.
When we were first in here talking, I felt it on the inside of my arm.
Did you?
Yes.
That's neat.
So it was like, no, it's not. I asked them, don't touch me, and they still do.
I would take it as a compliment. You know, most of the time when you're touched, I like to think that it's a kid.
Yeah.
You know, they're just trying to get your attention, so you take it as a compliment.
Because I was like, is my shirt like which one? And I was like checking.
Of
it.
course, you're trying to find a logical
Yeah.
explanation for it. That's what we do. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So last but not least, this group of 5, what was happening with you guys?
Well, we started upstairs and like
Parlor.
we pretended to like have a party.
Yes.
And music playing. And then we just started talking about like depression and how it is in like our society, and you guys were talking about is how in your community and things, and we said, you know, is that how you feel? And she didn't like respond, so I kind of like went out into like where the stairs are and was like kind of having a personal conversation.
Cool.
And I told her, you know, if she can hear me, if she understands what I'm saying, to make the temperature go, was it 79 or 78 something? Make the temperature go down to 74. Well, it went all the way down to 75.4, but not to 74.
That's a big decrease, though.
Yeah.
It just happened when Dakota was trying to get
Yeah.
it to go down, and
That's
it went
right.
down like that same like number. Like
Yeah,
it
that was
didn't
2
go
weeks
down like
ago.
right to when he asked, but like a number higher up, and then like
Point what he was asking
Yeah.
for.
It was
That was
74.
cool.
It was 74 when we were
The whole
in
time we were
there.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool too.
Because we wanted
And it didn't change.
It didn't change. No.
So after the 25 minutes, it
I
didn't
mean,
change.
it like a tiny bit, the last number bounced a couple times, but
Okay.
no, it was like 74.
Whoa, so it dropped like 3
Yeah.
degrees at 3 or 4
Flipping.
degrees for you.